Hello beautiful people, it's Alessandra Besta from Functional Food Company. I have delivered a workshop today to help us all really to switch from holiday to work, and one of the ways we can do that, energize ourselves, it's with the correct nutrition. I'm a founder of Functional Food Company, and functional foods are foods that provide nutritional benefits beyond the essential nutrition in terms of vitamins and minerals. They have a significant potential to prevent or supplement and help to cure certain diseases. So for example, probiotic foods like yogurt, kimchi, fermented foods are very good for your gut health and immune health. Nutraceutical foods, which are primarily most of our basic food that we buy every day, like bread and cereal and flour, are considered to be nutraceuticals. They fortify with vitamin D and folic acid and all the things that the general population is lacking. And the one that I'm particularly focusing on are unmodified whole foods from pure organic source, and those blueberry, ginger, kale, sardines that are nutritionally more superior to non-organic food, because they are very rich in what it's called the phytochemicals. And this is the area I really specialize in for a very personal reason. To give you an example of what phytochemicals are, the non-food content that it's packed with plant-derived chemicals that protect our body from oxidative stress, from harm and cell damage. For instance, phytoestrogen detoxify carcinogens and mimic estrogen in the body, which is excellent for menopausal women and also in terms of breast cancer prevention. And you can find that in legumes, soybeans, or flax seeds, for instance. So what do we eat for energy? Many years of presenting people diets and what to eat, I'm a big advocate on kind of reducing the things you shouldn't have. And one of the things that really hijacks our energy and really stresses our body, and stress consequently also hijacks our energy, are sugars, carbs, gluten, starches, dairy, lactose and casein, and there's sugars in dairy as well, and lactose is also types of sugar, and protein, and then large meals. So what can we eat to function better, to have more energy, to have a sharper, clearer minds? And another controversial thing that we've been told over many years is that we should reduce fat and eat fat-free, low-fat, emphasis on cholesterol. Well, my simple answer to you about what's the best thing to eat for energy will be a good fat. And there are many reasons for that. One is that our brains are primarily made of fat, and therefore it needs a fat to function correctly. And also fats are very slow energy releasing, which means we stay fuller for longer. And also fat is stored in the liver, by the liver, as energy as opposed to carbs, which are converted into fat and get stored on our hips for nothing. Well, size dress up. So the other thing that everyone is constantly trying to avoid, and especially in a world of snacking, it's the hunger. I know so many people who don't remember when was the last time they were actually hungry. Hunger is excellent energy booster. Food very often takes away energy from our body to be digested. If you actually take a longer breaks between meals, that energy can be used for something else, like, you know, preparing your accounts or multitasking. Also, when you not eat, that's the only chance your body has to actually use up the fat that's been stored for energy. Therefore, if you've overeaten during a breakfast, you have a very good chance to burn that later on in the day. So where do we get good fats from? Obviously, the obvious sources, like salmon, fish, if you're a meat eater, if you're not vegan. The one thing I will say, avoid saturated fats and trans fats, which are really, really harmful. But things like a pure olive oil or coconut oil are very good for you. Polyunsaturated oils like rapeseed oils, it's also very good for you. Again, if you're using oils for burning, cooking, there are slightly different oils with different burning factors to consider, but that's a separate video. But I would say make it easy for yourself. Do a few swaps around your lifestyle that are actually passable, that it's not going to be too much to manage. So for instance, if you are a cafe latte drinker and you drink quite a few of those a day, they're quite heavy on your stomach in terms of breaking down complex carbs. So replacing plant-based milk, whatever you're using, or cow's milk for hemp milk, which is naturally very high in omega-3 and 6, which we need a lot of, very often fortified with vitamin B12 and D. The other thing you can do is add a little bit of seeds and nuts onto your cereal. Rather than just have a cereal which is a pure carb, have some energy to it. Good to have a few seeds and nuts in your pockets for snacking throughout the day if you get a bit of munchy. And then sardines, salmon for lunch with vegetables are a very good source of omega-3 and good fats. Bone broth, flaxseed bread, and just a little spoon of olive oil, 130 calorie, can really suppress hunger if you add it to your salad. It doesn't have to be creamy, rich, heavy dressing. It's more about making it as simple, as pure as possible. And obviously make sure and be checked that you don't actually have deficiency. The UK is really deficient in many different nutrients as a general population. We're overweight but malnourished because a lot of the food we eat, it's actually not very nutritionally dense. And just today in the news, we heard about a boy who's lost his vision simply because of a really, really poor diet that it's lacking vitamin A. And when you think about all he needed was a carrot or butternut squash every now and then to maintain his sight, it's quite tragic to hear this. So make sure you check for B12, iron, and any other vitamin D deficiency. Have a regular probiotic as well, which helps you metabolize and help your immune system. The one thing that when we are thinking about a good brain function, we don't always associate that with the really good minerals in our body. But when you look closely at the real function of potassium, magnesium or iron and what they do, what kind of role they play in our body system, you will find that they're all grouped into focus on functions like normal function of nerve system, or muscle function, or blood pressure. That's potassium, for instance. Magnesium is responsible for nerve system, electrolyte balance, metabolism, protein synthesis, psychological function, right? You don't think that taking magnesium can actually lift your mood or deal with your migraines. Iron, it's responsible for cognitive function, oxygen transportation. It's very hard to think when you don't have a good blood circulation in your body. And copper, nerve system, metabolism, immune system. Also zinc, the mother of minerals that I really focus on because of my son's health. Going through puberty, zinc is responsible for a normal testosterone function, as well as cognitive function, carbohydrate metabolism. Now, we are a world that eats too much carbs, yet we are so malnourished in minerals that we actually don't have enough zinc in our body to metabolize carbs properly. No wonder why we have all sorts of different modern world diseases that we struggle with, and we kind of wonder where it came from. Calcium, it's usually associated with teeth and bones health, but actually plays a massive role in your gut function as well as in a normal function of neurotransmitters. Again, you want your children to be cognitively sharp starting in your school. You want them to think well. Minerals are very, very important. And it's hard to talk about energy without addressing this really important issue of health, of hormonal health. So things like thyroid function really needs to be taken care of, and for that selenium, it's excellent. Now, if you don't believe the power of a simple supplementation with minerals, imagine a situation where you are a little bit stressed, shaky, overstimulated, over wind up on the social media till late night on the phone, and you feel a little bit anxious or just wind up. A combination of vitamin E and magnesium can really calm the nerve system. So minerals are really powerful. If they can't help you function, they can also help prevent diseases. Accumulation of long-term malnutrition can really cause a problem. So how do I know this all and why? I have survived a stage 4 cancer using functional foods, which back then was something unheard of. And I actually haven't been able to speak about this for many years because it was so abstract and so surreal to so many people that they either didn't believe me or just thought I'm making up a story. Well, now we live in a world where this is really coming up and it's very much science-based. I also have a son with autism who has all sorts of complex needs with nutrition, and I have managed to save his life using nutritional supplements. I manage his puberty and his mood using all sorts of different supplements really, really successfully, and I can vouch for that. One of the things I've developed for my son was a micronutrients master plan. It's a really fun, nice way of children eating spirulina without knowing, as well as other protein, omega-3s, and a lot of different minerals, all combined into a marzipan testing truffle. I have also created IB snacks, which are excellent for managing your energy level, and I always have it in my handbag on the go. They're dehydrated, and 100 grams of it can really help you when you're traveling with managing your sugar and energy level. They're primarily seeds and protein dehydrated together, made into turmeric snack or beetroot snack. They're really delicious. And the other thing that I do to help myself and my son to function correctly is I use highly absorbable supplement patches, which you put under your arm or anywhere where they can gradually over 8 hours sneak into your lymphatic system and do the job without you knowing. These are absolutely excellent for people who are reacting to iron supplements, or people who have a lot of acid in their stomach and they cannot actually take supplements because it doesn't actually get into their bloodstream. For my son, I wish I had those patches 10 years ago when he really struggled and we were looking for all sorts of different ways to get nutrition into him. I've discovered them by desperation last year when my son was dying because he was not eating or drinking, and I was looking for all possible ways to get something into his system. And those patches were absolutely fantastic. They're very thin. I discreetly pat him on the back, stick the patch on for the day, and he was getting a good blood results. And in times when we were in hospital and he didn't eat or drink for a long period of time, his bloods were always good. His mineral and vitamin levels were always very, very good. So clearly they do the job.